at least. I kind of dug that about her.
Well, she might have just been a friend, but most people in high school, how many people really make up your
it's true
group of close friends? That might have been more important to her in a teenager's mind than her family.
Yeah, you're right. I just liked her doing it though. Like she's,
they just didn't show us that, right? Yeah. They didn't show us any of that.
Well, she's there all the time. She's kind of like an adopted sister almost, I would say. And also, so Tarantino had this big thing where he doesn't like the rules of this creature. He said that the rules of this creature change, and Robert Mitchell, the director, invited him to have a beer and to talk about it. It is pretty interesting, but it's never bothered me. I mean, he does shoot the thing in the hand and blood sprays. And then it seems to heal up. And then he shoots it in the head, and you see blood on the sheet. But then when they shoot it in the head in the pool, it becomes a complete, just blood-soaked thing that only Jay can see. So, did this creature die, do you think? And it doesn't give us an exact answer, but I mean, it seems with that much blood and it not coming out of the pool that it's dead? What do you think?
Well, so that scene with all that blood, specifically, or I'll call it that shot. It's really just that shot. That was a very art house shot.
Yeah, the blood.
That was
trailer shot.
That was an amount of blood that might have happened if a head exploded in the water.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
So if I'm thinking critically about that, if I'm using that to assess the putative actual death or destruction or whatever of this thing, I kind of feel like that shot was not a catharsis moment. She's watching, it's a very real moment, but I think it might be her perception. It might be a more her mind's eye than reality, because again, that did not represent what we saw with that bullet.
Yeah.
So, and at the same time, like this thing has taken some damage before. We saw it take a couple shots on the beach. 1, 2 bullets didn't seem to do anything. For some reason, a third bullet and it fell, and then it got up. We don't really know what kind of, I don't know what to call it, damage thresholds it has. But if it's not responding to pain, and if it's not responding like it has vital organs, I don't necessarily think that we can believe that a headshot is necessarily any more significant to an arm shot.
Yeah. And it's gone through 2 it survived a direct headshot. The back of the head.
If I'm just hand waving and I'm talking about poltergeisty movies and things manifesting, let's say, and I'm not necessarily a believer in this, but no fault to anyone who is. I just, I haven't experienced it. But let's say, okay, ghosts exist and can manifest physical results. They can have literally, in the laws of physics, they can manipulate things or take on a physical form. Well, then if they can take on a physical form, that physical form has some kind of chemical, atomic, ionic bonding structure going on. And then the destructive force of a bullet will rip apart these bonds and or molecules that it is culling together from the surrounding atmosphere to manifest itself, perhaps. Again, a lot of hand waving going on.
Well, there's no answer, so there's no wrong answer. You know what I mean?
So now maybe it doesn't matter if the third bullet goes to your head or another body shot. It's just 3 bullets worth of destructive damage. And you've now reduced my threshold of total bonds chemical bonds I've created from the atmosphere to manifest myself, right? And the body just falls. What I've manifested falls. And then I build up a little strength and inertia, and a couple seconds later, the body gets back up on the beach, right? I'm just focusing now my energy on that. And so I'm viewing it like that. It's that what if it's an active manifestation? It takes work to create this physical manifestation in our Earth. If it is Earth, maybe it's some ethereal or astral thing. I don't know, but obviously we can shoot it. So I don't know. Again, I don't know what the rules are, but so now let's take that to the pool scene. Well, we saw her shoot it 3 times on the beach and it dropped, and then it got back up. Is the pool scene just indicative that it took yet more damage and it might be up later?
Yeah. It's just cumulative.
Again, because if it's manifesting a form, a head and a brain don't matter. It's just manifesting a physical form to be able to manipulate the world around it in the rules that I just created in my head, right? But, it's just It's just creating a puppet out of molecules, potentially. And maybe that's why it can look like whatever it wants.
Ooh. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, what I like about what you're saying, John, is, I mean, there's no correct answer. But this seems, I mean, if you posited this at a get-together, people would be like, oh, yeah, I like it. I mean, it's, because it doesn't come after her immediately. They didn't immediately just walk away from that pool. I don't think they ran away from it. And there's no reason for it to play, what's the word?
To play possum.
Yeah, there it is. I was going to say chicken. I'm like, they're not running at each other. To play possum, like, it would have come out of the pool. I mean, bullets were almost gone. So something must have been affected in that pool.
If it takes this damage, and here's the other thing, if it can manifest a form, does that take energy? We talked about, I've mentioned this in a few of our episodes over the years. When we first talked about this movie, by the way, I think in like episode 10, it was like sexually transmitted demons was the episode, way back when, like 2015. But like, okay, Victor Wong and James Hong in Big Trouble in Little China have a wizard's duel, basically, right? The energy is going, well, you know, the two beams of energy, one of them tries to exert more power and he pushes the beam closer to the other guy. The other one resists back. And when they stop, when it breaks, they turn away and go. They don't just keep going. If they could do this forever, I think that they would.
Yeah.
Until someone won. All too often, we see someone do something in a movie and we just assume that it can be done at will. Guess what? When you see World's Strongest Man and the dude deadlifts 1,000 pounds for 2 reps, he can't do it again a minute later.
Yeah.
He can't even do it. He probably can't even do it again that day. You know, like things take energy and different levels of energy. If you have a study session for your board exam, your medical board exams, you know, after you finish med school or something, and you study like nonstop for 3 days, you're practically going insane. Your cortisol levels in your blood are nuts. Like, if you all of a sudden needed another day, you might go insane. Like you're biding your time carefully. So maybe this thing also has to concentrate on its connection to our plane of existence. Maybe it's disoriented when it takes enough damage, if you will. Its connection is broken. Maybe that created some time, right? Again, you know, I'm super duper hand waving here. A lot of Dungeons and Dragons history in my life is coming up with these ideas, I think. But I'm just saying, because something can do something, it doesn't mean it can do it all the time. Even in Reign of Fire, those dragons don't breathe fire every time they see something. And it's not by virtue of strategy. It exerts energy. They have glands that produce this, right? Wizards in movies, they don't just, well, sometimes, but in general, they're not blasting spells forever. Usually they're in Willow, Bathmorda, whatever the good one was. That the good one's name or was that the bad one? But the good one, the good one did something and she was exhausted. And when Willow finally transformed her from her polymorphed state into an animal back into her true form, he literally fell over.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like view it like that. View it like even in X-Men when Magneto's trying to hold something for a long time and you see a vein pop on his forehead, he starts to sweat. So I think that this is my really, really long-winded answer, right? But if it's still alive or not destroyed after the pool scene, this is why it doesn't just get up and keep going after her. It might take a while to regain its energy or focus or whatever it needs to do. For all we know, this is something bartering in the 7th circle of hell, right? Like a Freddy Krueger, if you will, right? Soul. Bartering with the devil in the 7th circle of hell to bring souls in exchange for something. And, oh, you failed. Oh, shit, I failed? Well, maybe if I come up with a good plan, you'll let me do it again later. But we don't know what this is. People complaining are giving it too much agency. Not that we shouldn't afford it that, right? But and you know, you mentioned the rules. This really threw me when we first discussed this movie. I remember I was annoyed with the rules, and I literally thought there was more than one it that follows. And the reason was that regardless of what they said in the movie, when the boy explains the rules in the beginning, he brought up right away, I still see it. But if he still sees it and she sees it, then there are 2 its in 2 places in my head because it's always moving closer to you. So either A, he's wrong that it's always moving closer to you, or B, there's two It's that follow. And C, by the way, when he passed it, he kept seeing it, and it's still following.
Yeah, I mean, that's an hour long. For me, I think it's just one that you pass and then it immediately goes. And if you see it, it's because it's with another person.
But remember, when the kids went to him for help, who passed it to Jay?
Yeah.
He said, I don't know what's going on. I still see it. It's still coming for me.
Well, because remember when he passed it to her, that one was coming towards him, they both saw it. So now when he sees anything walking towards him, he's probably shell-shocked.
Okay, maybe he's paranoid.
Yeah.
It could be that he's paranoid.
I mean,
but
you would be for the rest of your life, right? Anybody
but I'm assuming he's doing what he did with them, though. He even said, do you see her?
Yeah.
And then later, she passed it to her friend, and they could both see it. They could both see it.
But I guess if there were two, it would just keep going after each person. So I think there's more. This isn't part of the final fight, but I do think I think it's just.
But now
one.
we're establishing though that more than one person can see it.
Yeah. Oh, I think if they pass it along and 5 people decide to start a band to kill it, and all 5 can see it, you'd want to keep someone who can't see it, because then they can be like, "Can you see that?" And then they'd be like, "No," because if everyone can see it, you don't.
Right. You need a canary.
But it just seems, she saw it walking into that house to kill him, and then it went back after her. It just seems to be, it passes. So you pass it to somebody, it's tailing you, then it's tailing that. It kills that, it comes back after you. But you can still see it kill them. And how jerky was it, though, that in this final fight, he took the form of Jay's dad that you see in a photo earlier in the movie.
It was interesting, like, when they said, like, I don't remember if someone said, what is it, or what does it look like? And she said, I don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
But the irony is that she's the one who's going to be traumatized. It doesn't really matter to that, but it was her reaction to her trauma. That was a good one. It did some interesting things with its tactics. Sometimes a random person, right? And then before it got her friend, it was walking up to her friend's house as her friend. Mm-hmm. But then it infiltrated her friend, of course, as his mother. Perfect.
Yeah.
Right. And then, then her father. So it's going to close, trusted individuals. Although if I was the It that follows, if I was so aware of our world, I would come in like a swim coach.
Pizza guy.
No, I'd come in like a swim coach. And then when I see everyone there, I'd be like, I'd put my arms out like, what the hell are you all doing here?
Wait, you don't see it? A pool cleaner.
Because if it was convincing enough, the one person who can see it wouldn't think it was something that they wouldn't see. It'd just be like, like some janitor, like, oh shit, we shouldn't be here. And then he gets a little closer for like an ambush or something.
Oh, my bad. Walks backwards and just waits.
Before he spears a mop at her. So it was interesting too, get back to the fight itself, how it was concerned with the gun wielder.
Yeah.
But it wasn't concerned enough to try to manipulate the gun wielder. It held its arm out, right? Like it held, like holding out its hand, is a very weak distraction. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Because clearly its hands don't stop bullets. We saw that. Mm-hmm. Like that was maybe whatever it is, it's just so focused or obsessed, or maybe it's not actually that as intelligent as we would want to believe. But that was interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely smart, but it just has this one. It's interesting. It has enough limitations, but it has some upgrades, and it's interesting to kind of track. But I don't know. I'm glad that we got to cover this, John, because I just think that this final fight and the people calling it like dumb Scooby Gang kids has annoyed me, and I just wanted to get that off my chest for a while.
No, that's not right. I think we did a good job combating that today.
I mean, and just the intelligence of the production design, the score. I might go buy the soundtrack, get it on vinyl, and write while I listen to it. I mean, it's the excellent score. And I like that this wasn't their plan all along. These kids adapted during the fight. It showed, I don't know, that's neat. I dig it, man. I'm glad you came and joined me to talk about this. And then we went into the creature a little bit. I think you really explained. I like it. It got weakened. It got shot 3 times. So, I mean, thing might need a nap. It might be like Godzilla in the 2014 film when it takes a nap after battling the 2 Mutos. It might be like that, right?
Yeah, no, and literally, I'm